Hello, everyone. Rabbi Abe here. It just came to my mind. I'm sitting here in my kitchen having a cup of coffee, and we're going into the new moon of Cancer and the lunar month. So I thought to share with you one extremely important tool that we need to use to be successful in the month of Cancer. Why? Because this is a funny month. The month of Cancer is an extremely a funny month in the sense that it works the opposite of all the other months. It's just like, I don't want to go into the disease of cancer, but it works the opposite of the other cells, right, in the body. It's the opposite. Something is the opposite. It's a mutation, right? It causes mutation of the cells instead of normal cells. It's the opposite of the way it should be working. So there is that energy in the month because there's some aspect of imbalance, and that affects all of us, right? It's not just Cancerians. We know every month contributes something to the entire year. And, in the month of Cancer, there's many things, but one of the most important things we call balance. Now, what is balance? Balance is the harmony between what we call the right and the left, between judgment and mercy, between giving and sharing. There's a lot of things that indicate balance, okay, but they represent opposites. When opposites can get along in harmony, you have a balanced state. For us emotionally, and that's why, Cancerians can go into emotional extremes, is because they can be happy in one moment and in the same, and crying because there's some conflict of emotions over there. There's extreme sensitivity, but there can also be extreme cold. There can be coldness as well. Okay. And for a Cancerian, the tikkun, or the one of the corrections, karmic corrections of Cancer, is not to be that sensitive to yourself, but be more sensitive to other people. Okay, so there's a lack of balance over there. Too sensitive to me, not sensitive enough to others. Now, every constellation, every sign has its imbalance, and it affects all of us in a particular way. But what do we need to do in Cancer? What's one thing, at least, one thing we can do in the month of Cancer to inject positive energy that will be able to not only assist us, but inject some aspect of balance for the entire month. And we need it because, Cancer is one of the 3 months that the Zohar explains that we need to be a little bit extra careful. There's no natural, harmonious receptacle or spiritual vessel to receive positive energy in the month. We need to create it ourselves. We need to be active in how we receive energy and how we give and how we share. So I want to give you a tool in order how to know. And this is about making decisions, and it's good for all of us, okay? How do we make decisions, or how do we know more the right thing to do? What's really going to work out for me? And I'll give you a hint. It's not just about doing what I want to do, okay? Because the universe has a way of giving us insight. Generally, our nature is that our desire is awakened, and our desire, the natural desire and the natural tendency, is to take care of me first. It's about me first. And there are occasions when we do need to do that. I'm not saying no. But for the most part, when the thought comes to us and the framework appears of what we need to do, how we need to do things in life, no, it's not about me, what's good for me first. It needs to take others into the picture, others into consideration. How do we do that in the framework of decision making, which is, of course, also good for me? We're not saying it should be bad for us, but it needs to be good for all concerned. How do we get there? I'm going to give you a tool. It's simple. I don't say it's simple to do, but understanding it, I think, is simple. Now, there's a need for us to become objective. And if you don't know what that means, it means that it's not personal, because when things become personal, very difficult to make decisions. In a relationship, when things are personal, it's very difficult to make decisions because I'm personally affected. So, you know, again, I don't want to say impossible, but when we're personally affected by something, it's difficult to make objective decisions. I'm sure we would all agree. So what do we do? What should we do? I call it playing the movie, playing a movie. So simply look at yourself, sit in a movie theater, and watch a movie of you in the situation that you're trying to understand how to make a decision about it. Take yourself out to become objective. Take yourself out of the situation, and you are on the outside looking in. Now, advise that person who's really you. Advise them what they should do. What's the best thing for them as you see it objectively? You see, when we take ourselves out of the picture personally, it's much easier to make decisions. It's much easier to give advice to somebody else. And that's, by the way, that's another tool that I use, very similar, by the way. The other thing we can do is pretend you're a friend giving advice to your dearest friend. What would you tell them to do? What would you advise them? Similar idea, to become objective and to be a vehicle for someone who you really care about. Because, you're not going to give someone who you really care about bad advice. You're going to do your best to give them good advice to the best of your ability. Another tool similar to that is when you have a decision, let's say, between two things, and they're two different things. And you feel, I could do this, I could do that, but I don't know exactly what to do. And again, this is a decision between what we'll call the right and left, positive, negative, and so on, because you have two different options. And I don't mean positive and negative as the good thing and the bad thing. No, I mean, it's difficult to make a decision. You're in a state of indecision. How do you make an objective decision about something? So you could try the first two things that I just, shared with you. Another thing you can do to get yourself out of the picture, and this is important, you ask yourself a question. Can I do this? Equally as, can I do this? Now, let's say, I don't know, one of my children asks me for something, and I have my own agendas about it. I don't really want to do it, but I could do it. I don't want to personally. What should I do? Maybe he's asking for money. Maybe it's something that I just personally don't feel like doing. So you ask yourself a question. Can I do this or that equally? Again, can I do this? Yes, do it. Not do it equally. In other words, can I get yes and no to be equal? Because if I can do that, then I can think objectively. Then I can say, okay, I could do this or I could do that, and I'm able to do either. Now, what should I do? Because usually we're gravitating towards one because we don't want to do something else, if you follow my meaning. So we have to get ourselves to a place of balance first. I could do this, or I could do that, or I could not do that, and I could also give that up as well. What should it be? So the object here is to get ourselves in the middle. We call that the central column in Kabbalah. We want to get into the middle, where we could do either equally. Now we can choose what is the best for all scenarios. And that gets us in the middle. And when we're in the middle, we're really connecting to the spiritual light of the Creator, because the spiritual light of the Creator is not this or that. It's always the middle. It's always part of what we call the middle column. We may not always see it that way because we are not there, and we project our own illusions externally onto other people, even onto God. That's what we do. But okay, that's another conversation. But I hope this makes sense. It's very important in the month of Cancer to be aware, and as I said, to be aware of starting new ventures, brand new ventures. I'm not talking about continuations of anything in business and anything that's absolutely necessary to do for business reasons or for employment or for your livelihood. That's not a problem at all. But if you have choices about it, don't choose to start brand new ventures, make major purchases in the month of Cancer. It's not one of the best months to do that. Okay. Again, unless you have no choice, unless this date was assigned to you, then no problem. It's not your personal decision, then there's no worries about that. The reason why is because there is some form of innate lack that we need to make up for in the month of Cancer. And, when you begin a new venture, you want all the power and energy in the seed level that you can possibly muster up, right? And so we always want to take every energetic advantage of what the universe is giving us, as well as the wisdom that the universe and the sages have given us of, what to be mindful of and how to get the best possible outcomes in any given situation. All right? Thank you, guys who were in the angel class. We had, a great, great group. It's available online now on rabbieabe.com. You can get the replay if you weren't in it with us. And be blessed. And I hope to see you very, very soon. Happy new moon, lunar month of Cancer. All the best.